Welcome to this workshop on online reference tools. My name is Andrew Stout, and I'm the Public Services Librarian here at the Buswell Library. The intention of this workshop is to feature some of the Buswell Library's online reference collections, to demonstrate their unique features, to highlight some of the advantages that online reference materials have over physical reference materials, and also to underscore how online reference works integrate with the rest of the library's online and physical holdings. We're going to look at three resources. The first one is the Oxford Reference Database. Then we'll look at the Credo Reference Database. And finally, we'll take a look at Covenant's online reference search. Before we get into the specific resources, we'll just talk about the advantages of online reference tools. And we'll kind of start with the big picture and narrow in on the more practical aspects. So I've got a quote here from Timothy Beale. He's a professor of religious and media studies at Case Western Reserve University, and he edits the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Bible and the Arts, which is one volume in the broader Oxford Encyclopedias of the Bible. And we'll look at that reference set a little bit later here. But first, let's take a look at this quote from Beale. He says, "This encyclopedia is distinguished as part of a larger suite of encyclopedias on different dimensions of biblical studies, including archaeology, ethics, gender studies, biblical interpretation, law, and theology. The greatest potential for this encyclopedia will be realized in this digitally networked and interlinked platform, which introduces many new and revolutionary possibilities for biblical research and reference. We are in the middle of a media revolution, namely the rise of digital network culture and the twilight of print book culture." Now, there may be a little bit of hyperbole mixed in this quote. As Beale talks about the revolutionary possibilities for biblical research, interlinked platform, but it does give you an idea of what the advantages of online reference material like this can be. And when we talk about the rise of digital network culture, that's something that surely by now we're all very aware of. This was written back in around 2016, so we're very conscious of how much of our lives we live online. And how we're very conscious of the digital platforms that we all kind of operate on day to day. So again, this media revolution that Beale's talking about has been amplified by COVID-19 as we live more of our lives online. A lot of times when we're talking about reference books, we are working with sort of an Enlightenment myth, sort of the myth that all the knowledge on a topic can be contained in a single volume. And a networked platform of online reference materials like this helps us kind of see that that all knowledge is partial, that there's not just one source you can go to get all the information on a given topic. And the advantage of online materials like this is that they integrate reference materials with the rest of the library material that's available to you. So the structure of online integrated encyclopedias reflects that knowledge is partial and requires connection. So another really practical advantage of online reference material that makes reference material available to online and distance students. That might be the most obvious advantage. If you are not an on-campus student, if you're working remotely, you have remote access to these resources. However, they can also be convenient resources for all students working remotely. So if you are an on-campus student and you have access to the physical library, there are going to be plenty of times where you're not actually in the library and you may be off campus, but you still have access to some of these resources remotely. And also, some online reference materials duplicate titles held in print reference. So if you're on campus and you're in the library, you're working with a physical copy of a reference work, we have the advantage of duplicating some of those titles as online resources for you to access off campus as well. Beyond some of those more obvious advantages, though, there is some exclusive content and functionality to these online reference works. Some reference titles are held exclusively as online resources. So we said earlier that some of our online works duplicate the physical holdings, but some of these online resources are exclusive to the digital platforms that they live on. Also, online titles connect readers with other relevant library resources. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the first online reference resource here, the Oxford Reference Database, which allows you to search or browse the full text of major reference works, and it includes encyclopedias on theology and biblical studies. I'm going to navigate to the library homepage now. So we're going to start off by searching in Covenant's catalog here for Oxford Encyclopedias of the Bible. And you see we've got 15 results here. I'm going to go ahead and narrow that down to series title. I'll get us more specific results. Okay, so that gives us 9 results. You see the first one here is the Oxford Encyclopedia of Biblical Interpretation. And if you look at the icon, you'll see it is an ebook. If we scroll down, you can see out of the 9 results, only one of them is actually a physical book. So the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Bible and Theology is held in the physical reference section. We also have the same book available as an ebook. So from this results page, you can see what we talked about earlier, that some of these online reference materials, some of them will duplicate physical holdings, but a lot of them are actually going to be exclusive to the online platform. So they're good to be aware of and to get used to using, because if you sort of limit yourself to what is physically available at the library, you're going to miss out on some substantial resources. Okay, so that gives you just sort of an overview of the library's holdings in this area. Let's navigate back to the home page. I'll show you another way to get at this Oxford reference database. So we're going to go to Research Databases. Got an alphabetized list of all the databases that we provide access to. And we're going to go to Oxford Reference. Okay, so the Oxford Reference Database covers all kinds of subject areas. At Covenant, we subscribe to particular titles available in that database. So we could start searching on a topic right here. That would give us lots of results that aren't we don't necessarily have access to. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go over to the left here and click Show Books in My Subscription. Again, there's a lot available in the database, and we subscribe to particular titles. So this will show us which titles we subscribe to specifically. So you'll see again, there are 9 results here. Those are the same results that we saw in the catalog, or just a little bit earlier. The Oxford Encyclopedia of Biblical Interpretation, of the Bible and Archaeology, the Bible and Ethics, the Bible and Gender Studies, the Bible and Law, the Bible and the Arts, the Bible and Theology, the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Books of the Bible. And then we've got one more that we subscribe to that's not in that particular series, the Oxford Guide to People and Places of the Bible. So earlier when we were looking at these same titles in the catalog, we could access each individual book through the catalog. We can do the same thing here by clicking on each title. But instead of going to a specific title, we also have the ability to search across this whole set of encyclopedias. So let's start out with a search on atonement. Let's say you're working on a paper, an assignment that requires you to do some research and write about the nature of the atonement. So this shows us this is actually showing us all of the results under atonement across all of the Oxford Reference Database. We're going to go ahead and limit here by availability. We're going to limit it to unlocked. So that will so now this will include only the results that are found in the books that we have, that we specifically subscribe to. Okay, so now we're looking at the results that are found in those Oxford Encyclopedias of the Bible, also in the Oxford Guide to People and Places of the Bible. See here we've got 119 entries that include atonement in the books we subscribe to. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first entry. So this is the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Bible and Theology. This is their basic entry on the atonement. It gives you information on the ancient background, the Old Testament, Leviticus, the New Testament, Pauline accounts of atonement, more about atonement in the New Testament, and then a postscript on the extent of the atonement. So this is a pretty, pretty thorough entry on to give you a basic overview of how the Bible deals with the topic of the atonement. And then one of the things we'll see here at the bottom is the bibliography. So these are all the sources that were used in that to write that entry. So if you were looking at this entry on the atonement in the physical reference book, you'd have this bibliography. You take let's say you're getting a basic overview of the topic, and now you want to go find some specific resources that could help you write your paper on the atonement. So if you were looking at the physical reference book, you could take a look at this bibliography, but then you'd have to go to the library's catalog and start searching for these individual books or journal articles. On the online version of the book, there's more functionality that can be really, really convenient and really expedite your research. So first of all, let's look at Joel Green's Kaleidoscopic View in 4 Views of the Atonement. I'd like to find this resource. I'm going to click Find Full Text. So this gives you a results page to show you if this resource, if and where this resource is available at the Covenant Library. So let's go ahead and check, click on Check Detailed Holdings. So this particular title is actually a chapter in an edited volume, The Nature of the Atonement, 4 Views. So it looks like we hold both a physical copy that you can request from the stacks and check out. We also have an ebook copy of that same book. So here's the record for the ebook. If we click this link, it will take us to the ebook itself. If we click this PDF full text, so now you have full remote access to a kaleidoscopic view of the Atonement by Joel Green. So we're able to move very quickly from the article on the Atonement to the bibliography showing us more relevant resources, and then almost immediately to a full text copy of the ebook. So there was no sort of hunting around in catalogs to find where the book was available, or going down into the stacks to pull it off the shelf and check it out. You can do it all from the same place. Let's look at, before we leave this entry, let's look at one more resource here. Actually, let's go back to our results for the Atonement across the whole Oxford Encyclopedias of the Bible. Okay, so let's look at one more. Let's move to the second page of results and look at one more result on the Atonement within this suite of reference works. All right, let's take a look at this entry, Release from Debt, from the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Bible and Law. So the first entry we looked at was from the Encyclopedia of the Bible and Theology, so it gave us more of a theological view of the Atonement. This is going to look at sort of legal concepts and how they're used in Scripture. So it's kind of a different angle on the same topic. So Release from Debt talks about the Jubilee year, background of the debt release laws, debt release laws and the New Testament. So again, it's talking about ancient legal concepts and how they function in the Bible and how that relates to the Atonement. So again, pretty extensive entry there. Let's take a look at the bibliography. And David Baker, The Jubilee and the Millennium, Holy Years in the Bible and Their Relevance Today, from Themelios. Looks like it could be relevant, interesting to check out. So let's click Find Full Text. So again, we get the results page here. In our previous example, we saw results from covenants, both our catalog for our physical books and also our ebook catalog. This, however, is a journal article. So the results page is showing us where we can access that journal article. And the first one is in the Atla Religion Database. Go ahead and click the link. So that connects you directly to the Atla Religion Database and the entry for this particular journal article. Again, you can click the PDF full text access. And there we've got the complete journal article. So you can see how using these online reference tools, it takes you quickly from a basic overview on a topic that you're interested in researching very quickly to specific relevant resources on that topic across our various catalogs and databases. Oh, and just note on the functionality in these databases as you're finding journal articles. You've got the option to email a copy to yourself. You can print it off, of course, but that way you don't have to go. You can email it to yourself, so you don't have to just go hunt around afterwards to try and find it again when you want to take another look. So that's a basic look at the Oxford Reference Database. Now we're going to take a look at the Credo Reference Database. And in the Credo Reference Database, you can search or browse the full text of major reference works, and it includes specialized dictionaries and handbooks on the Bible and theology, as well as a few Bible commentaries. So once again, let's start at the library's homepage and search the catalog. We're searching specifically for the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology, the standard reference work. So we'll just point out that here we've got the most recent third edition of the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology. You can find a physical copy of it in Covenant Seminary's reference collection. We also have an ebook copy of the most recent third edition. So you'll find those results in the catalog if you're looking for the book. As we did before, let's navigate back to the home page, go to Research Databases. This time we are looking for the Credo Reference Database. So again, as with the Oxford database, this is Credo Reference is a broad database covering lots of topics, but we subscribe to specific titles within that database. So we're going to look at all the titles that we subscribe to. We've got 46 titles, including the Baker Illustrated Bible Commentary, Biblical Theological Introduction to the New Testament, and also the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology that we just looked at in the catalog. So by searching in the Credo Reference, you will be able to search this Evangelical Dictionary of Theology and all the contents of these other reference works as well. You'll see there are two entries here for the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology. The first one being the most relevant third edition, and the second entry being the second edition. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing we did in the Oxford database and search for Atonement. We've got 988 results here. One kind of cool feature of Credo, so you can see, is it gives you it searches for the when you search for a particular topic, it gives you all kinds of related topics. And you've got kind of a cool visual there. You can click on those related terms and find more resources on those terms throughout the database as well. But let's go back to our original search on the Atonement. And let's take a look at the entry for Atonement Extent of. Okay, so this is an entry from the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology, dealing with particular redemption, general redemption. And so you can see this is dealing with the question of the extent of the atonement and issues like limited atonement. It's not quite what I'm looking for. I'm going to go down here to see also, that gives me some related entries. I'll choose the general entry for atonement. Okay, so here's the general entry for atonement. Deals with the biblical usage in the Old Testament background, New Testament varieties, historical theories of the atonement, and contemporary discussions about the atonement. So again, a pretty extensive reference entry, pretty extensive entry, giving an overview of the topic. And And then we can look at the bibliography for some more specific resources. Let's take a look here at John Stott's The Cross of Christ. Again, we're going to click the Find Full Text link. So on the results page here, we'll click the Check Detailed Holdings. So the Cross of Christ, which is a sort of a standard evangelical treatment of the atonement, we own several copies. We own several hard copies of that book, and then we also own the ebook. So you could check out a physical book from the stacks if you're on campus, but if you're not on campus, you can take a look at the ebook. So again, we've moved quickly from a general treatment of the topic in a reference work very quickly and pretty easily to a standard work on the topic that could be really useful in research on this given subject. So when you with these full text ebooks, of course, you've got a convenient navigation over on the left. You can skip from one chapter to the next. You can also save a particular page range or email those pages to yourself. Usually it will give you the option of selecting, you can specify your page range, or you can select this section, which is usually the chapter that you're in. And then you can email that to yourself so that you have perpetual access to that resource. So you can't email or save the entire book to yourself, but this book allows printing, emailing, and saving up to 100 pages. So you can sort of keep perpetual access to up to 100 pages of this particular ebook. Different ebooks will have different restrictions, but that's a pretty common one, the ability to print, email, or save 100 pages. Okay, let's take a look at one more entry on this bibliography. Blosher's The Sacrifice of Jesus Christ, the Current Theological Situation. It's in the European Journal of Theology. So again, that looks like could be a useful journal article for our research. So on the results page here, we have information about the journal that the article is found in, the volume and issue, the page range. However, it says there is no full text available at your library. So when you run into that message, instead of just giving up and saying, oh, well, I guess I don't have access, you can always click the Request an Interlibrary Loan link. That's going to ask for your login credentials, which are your first and last name, and then the student ID number that is printed on your student ID card. That will take you through to this interlibrary loan request where you'll need to fill out some information about the journal article you're looking for. We'll specify that it's an article from a periodical. Of course, there's also the option to specify an entire book or a chapter or essay from a book. But in this case, we're looking for a journal article. So you'll need to plug in the author, the title, page range, the journal that it's coming from, as much information as you have. In this case, as much information as we found on that results page. You want to go ahead and plug that in. And in some databases, these fields will be filled in automatically if you link from a record for the article. In this case, it doesn't. You have to plug it in manually, but this is a way of getting a copy of a journal article that Covenant does not own specifically. We can go find it somewhere else. We can go get a copy of it from another library that has it, and we will email it to you when that other library provides us with it. Okay, so that's the Credo Reference database. And finally, we're going to take a look at Covenant's online reference search. And this is a tool that allows you to search across all of Buswell Library's online reference collections. So Oxford reference, Credo reference we've looked at, but we have some other online reference collections as well. And this search will help you search, this tool will help you search across all of those. So starting again from the library homepage, scroll down to other catalogs. We're looking for online reference. Keeping with our theme, we will search for Atonement. And so these results will be broken down by the particular reference collection that they're found in. The first one you see is the results from Credo Reference. So a lot of these are going to be the results that we saw when we were searching in Credo specifically. But then the second set of results is from the Gale Virtual Reference Library. And like the other reference sources we looked at, Gale Virtual Reference Library covers lots of topics, and we subscribe to some specific titles within that are relevant to religion and theology. So you've got more entries there. Let's just take a quick look at Day of Atonement from the Encyclopedia Judaica. So if you're looking for more information on the Old Testament background on the Atonement, that would be a good resource. We're seeing more results from Oxford Reference we looked at before. So that just gives you a broader view of some of the online reference materials that are available to you. Okay, so I hope that's a helpful overview of our online reference tools. If you have questions about how to use these or just any other questions about how to use the library in general, please don't hesitate to get in contact. See, my email and my phone number are available there. So please do get in contact if you have questions. Thanks.